Brandon, Bgb.Productions here. This is the second video of the dually swap on my 2013 f250 short bed. Front end done, which is probably the easiest part of the whole process. Adapter, 8 to 10 lug adapter, and the 22 by 8 1/4 American Force Independence dually wheels. So next thing on the chopping block is the rear end. A lot of different ways that you could do this. And one way would be to just get some dually adapter spacers for the rear. But the only problem with that is they only make them 8x170 to 8x170 lug pattern. Now, I could have done that. They make 8x170 dually wheels, but it's a little harder to do. And I knew I wanted to run 10 lug wheels. Doing the spacer on the rear and then doing a 10 lug adapter on top of the spacer didn't really sit right with me. So I'm going to swap a f250 dually rear end. This is out of a, I think, 08 to 10 Super Duty. They're the same, so not too big of a deal. In order to make my job doing that a heck of a lot easier, I am going to be pulling the bed. Now, the reason for me pulling the bed is I'm actually going to be putting a flatbed on the truck. Doing so, I've pulled a bunch of these beds. None of them are ever easy. So, like I say, everything that I do is not a tutorial. It's just kind of how I do it and bringing y'all along for the process. I'm going to go ahead and set up a time lapse and hopefully y'all stick around. Use this time to hop on here and say that I'm not a slob. It's just, I don't drive this truck a lot, and stuff just kind of adds up. So, yeah, I having a hard time with these bolts, so I'm gonna have to grind them out. So let's jump back into the time lapse. And that's why you don't try this, because I don't have another one of those, and now that's junk. So now I really am gonna have to cut those. So now, and before I say this, please don't be like me. Please wear safety glasses. I just don't have any, and I can't find any. I know there's no excuse, but now that I've done this, now that y'all watch me do that in the time lapse, I'm not going to bore you with it because I have to do that 7 more times. So I'd jump on here and say, I've got all of these done, and after about the third one of grinding the heads off, I was like, man, there's got to be an easier way to do something like this. I mean, I've already busted a freaking bit, you know, whatever. So my buddy installs these beds for a living, and I call him, and he's like, oh, just use a 40 grit flap disc on your grinder and grind the top of the bolt off. And I'm like, come on. That is crazy. But just like that, all of the bed bolts are off. Just like that, with the help of a few others and my redneck ingenuity, to a chain and a chain hoist, and voila, got the old bed off. There's a few things that are going to be addressed before the flatbed actually does go on. I got to do some weight loss, and then I found a pretty noticeable exhaust leak, so that definitely needs to get taken care of. And then obviously you're gonna clean all this up, fix a little bit of airbag stuff that I got going on, and some compressors, and then clean it up, and we'll be good to go. Rear view camera unavailable. I'm not sure what that could be. Oh. All right. Now that we've got ourselves a clean slate to start off of, went and picked up the flatbed for the build. We're a little slim. We got an 8-foot bed. Got the mini X right here behind it. All right, so right here, this is still the 3/4 ton axle. I didn't do very good at recording, and my phone ended up dying, but this is just a little snippet. I had my father-in-law come over and give me a hand, and eventually we got this thing out. Like I say, my phone died, so I didn't really get it, so this is just me pulling off my airbags and undoing my U-bolts and other stuff like that. And then we'll jump to now where I have the 1-ton axle in the truck. We had a little issues with the U-bolts fitting, so got that ironed out. And then right now, I'm just putting the shocks on and doing the airbags. And then I wanted to see what the dually setup actually looked like on the truck. And yeah, sorry I got a little lousy at recording it. I would have liked to made it a little better, but I don't know. I don't know what I was feeling that day, but I knew I didn't feel like recording very much or talking, so figured I'd just throw it up on the time lapse. Now, unfortunately, after I made it to that point, I ended up hurting myself, so my truck sat in the state for a good bit. So, with that being said, I'm good now, and this video right here is a few weeks into the process. Took the duals off, waiting for a few to get fixed, and rolled it out of the shop for the very first time on its own weight with the 1-ton rear axle. So stay tuned for the next update, which will be getting the bed. Well, I already got the bed in this update, but cutting the bed up, getting it fitted on the truck, and getting one step closer to it being done.